Modern humanity does not have scientific knowledge whether short-term, actively used, and long-term human memory is stored in the human brain or not. This video gives a well-reasoned answer to the question of where short-term, actively used, and long-term human memory are stored. Human memory is the ability of a human to store and retrieve information when necessary. A human manages the search, receipt, processing, and transformation of information that the human brain carries out. A human understands the information that the human brain receives, processes, and transforms, and manages this information. Thus, a human's entire life is associated with the search, receipt, processing, transformation, understanding, and management of information. All information a human uses throughout his life is copied and stored in the information field. The information field is a regional developing intelligent information system of the highest level of development, which purposefully manages objects of living nature, including humans. The information field is an integral part of the Supreme Mind. The Supreme Mind is a universal developing intelligent information system of the highest level of development, which manages immaterial and material worlds of the universe. A human is a biological social being who possesses speech and into whom the soul has incarnated. The fact that the information accumulated by a human in the process of his life is copied and stored in the information field is confirmed by the fact that some humans have a certain access to the memories of their souls about their previous earthly incarnations, a reliable fact. Since the brain of a living human cannot have access to the information of another, already deceased, human, therefore, the information accumulated by a human in the process of his life is copied and stored outside the human brain. The information that a human uses throughout his life can be divided into three categories: short-term information, actively used information, and long-term information. Since modern humanity does not have scientific knowledge about whether short-term, actively used, and long-term information is stored in the human brain or not, we will use known facts and make logical assumptions based on them. Since the human brain searches for, receives, processes, and transforms information, the human brain spends on searching, receiving, processing, and transforming information about 20% of all the energy a human expends. Therefore, it can be logically assumed that the Supreme Mind took into account the need to optimize human consumption of the Earth's material resources for human energy production. The more economical a human's consumption of the Earth's material resources for human energy production, the more humans the Earth will be able to feed. The more young souls will be able to go through the earthly stage of their development. The more time the Earth will be able to provide earthly stages of development of souls. The above facts and logical assumptions allow humanity to come closer to answering the question: is short-term, actively used, and long-term information stored in the human brain or not? And if not, then where? Short-term information is usually a small volume of information that a human needs for a short period of time. Short-term information is stored in the human brain because storing short-term information in the human brain ensures the efficiency of a human's use of this information, which may be important for human survival. Short-term information does not require a lot of human energy to store it in the human brain. Human access to short-term information stored in the information field would require more energy from the human brain compared to the energy spent on storing this information in the human brain. Actively used information is usually quite voluminous information that a human actively uses over a fairly long period of time. Actively used information is stored in the human brain because storing actively used information in the human brain ensures the efficiency of humans' use of this information, which may be important for human survival. Constant human access to actively used information stored in the information field would require greater expenditure of human brain energy compared to the energy expenditure on storing said information in the human brain. In order to reduce human energy consumption for storing actively used information in the human brain, access to said information is fully or partially, depending on the degree of human activity in using said information, based on algorithms, that is, a set of precisely defined rules describing the procedure for solving a certain problem or achieving a certain goal. In other words, algorithmization of access to actively used information stored in the human brain reduces the level of energy consumption by the human brain. Example 1. Human proficiency in his native speech language is fully algorithmized. This means that human access to actively used information about his native speech language, which is stored in the human brain, is fully based on algorithms. Example 2. Human proficiency in a foreign language is partially algorithmized. The higher the level of a human's proficiency in a foreign language, the higher the level of algorithmization of access to the information used about the foreign language. Any other human activity that involves the active use of information should be considered from a similar standpoint. The higher the level of activity in using information and the level of complexity of the actively used information, the more dynamically the human brain develops, which is the basis for human development. As the level of activity in using actively used information decreases, it becomes long-term information. Long-term information is a large volume of information accumulated by a human in the course of his life, which the human does not actively use. Long-term information is not stored in the human brain, but is stored in the information field, because the prompt use of long-term information by a human is not required. Long-term information requires a large expenditure of human energy for its permanent storage in the human brain. Access to long-term information stored in the information field will require less human energy compared to the expenditure of human energy for storing long-term information in the human brain. Activation of human use of long-term information to the level of actively used information transfers long-term information to the category of actively used information. Detailed explanation and justification of the above information and much more relevant information you can find in my book, Theory of the Nature of the Universe and Man, based on the achievements of modern physical science in cognizing the laws of the universe. The book is available at the link posted below in the description to this video.